Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars both get delayed. We got to attend the Ballerina world premiere in London. Mission Impossible 8 and Lilo Stitch face off at the box office. Cillian Murphy and Daniel Craig are in talks for Damien Chazelle's next movie. And tons more trailers and news. Let's get into this week's movie news filmed in London.
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. Things are a little different today. We're in Leicester Square in London. We just attended the world premiere of Ballerina, and we're both hanging out in the city for another couple of days together. So we're filming this episode on location. So one mic,
In my hotel room.
one mic, one camera. So we're gonna make it work. Now this is a huge week. We also have really cool Easter egg about who the potential next James Bond might be. We'll talk about that in a little bit. A ton of trailers, great news stories. This is the weekly episode where we go through everything that's happened in the world of TV and film. So let's get started with the box office. It was a big matchup between Lilo and Stitch and Tom Cruise. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Their second head-to-head match 20 years ago. Lilo and Stitch opened opposite Minority Report. And Minority Report took the box office that time.
Stealing the mic. I had no idea. That's so funny. And Lilo and Stitch dominated the box office. $165 million at the domestic box office. Mission Impossible, second place at $78 million. Very good opening. But again, this movie's a $400 million budget. They need a bill, basically, to break even. They need to make $1 billion. We saw it. I freaking love that movie. Cannot wait to talk about it. Anthony's just going to flip that LCD over. There we go. I was thinking the same thing. Final Destination has a very strong second week with $26 million at the domestic box office in the second weekend.
Let me take this mic real quick. This Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning is the franchise best opening. So it's expected to do pretty well. And Final Destination last week earned over $120 million for its global opening weekend, also a franchise best. So we got two legacy sequels. They were franchise bests at the box office. One's 6 films in and one's 8 films in. So that's pretty telling for where Hollywood's clearly going. That's where a lot of money is getting made. Obviously with Lilo and Stitch, another legacy reboot. Then Thunderbolts with $9 million is closing in on $400 million globally. Not a very big hit for Marvel, but it was well received, which I think they probably wanted more than just earning money to get fans to like the film. And then Sinners, fifth place, still doing really well with $8 million. It's closing in on $280 million domestic, so it's an absolute juggernaut at the domestic box office. James, take it away with Avengers.
Well, real quick, Thunderbolts wasn't as big of budget as Marvel's recent films, so I think it's still a success for them, even $400 million, because I think it was a $100-ish million budget, so they actually probably did really well in that movie. But in typical Marvel fashion, there are some delays. Avengers Doomsday has been delayed to December 18th, 2026, which will be the same day that Dune Part 3 or Dune Messiah, whatever they're going to call it, comes out. So they're going to go head-to-head at the box office on the same day. And also, Avengers Secret Wars has been delayed also to December 17th, a year after that, to 2027. This was expected, not surprised. You know, Marvel, they kind of delay all of their projects these days.
And The Devil Wears Prada 2 took its slot in the summer of 2026, May 1st.
All right, Devil Wears Prada 2. Who is this person? But we want to talk about why we were in London, too. Lionsgate, they're so nice and hospitable. They treated us to a trip out here. I got flown out to London, and they put me up in a hotel in Leicester Square, which is where they had the world premiere of Ballerina a few nights ago, which was such a fun experience for us. We got to be part of the red carpet as part of media, and we got to interview several members of the cast and crew. We were so fortunate to chat with Keanu Reeves, and he was so nice and passionate, and it was just a surreal experience to chat with one of our heroes from our entire lives. Anna was so sweet with her time. She was incredible with the carpet, just with the fans and going around and trying to say hi to every single person that was there, and even gracious with us to give us a minute of her time to ask a question, which was so nice of her. Norman was so cool. Norman Reedus was there. We got to chat with him too. Very relaxed, very chill, very fun. Not to mention, we also talked to director Len Wiseman, who's heard of us, and he said he's watched our show before, which was so cool. And he answered like 6 questions from us. Super informative about the filmmaking process and really great answers, tons of wisdom and passion for this project. Shay Hatton, the writer of the film, the original script, Ballerina, which got turned into the John Wick version of it, was super nice, very polite. And Catalina, who's also in the film, she was amazing and gracious with her time. We had such a fun time. The movie was really freaking good. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It's one of my favorite in the John Wick franchise for sure. Anna kills this role, and she handles the action so well. Baba Yaga's back too. Keanu is fantastic in the movie as always. And of course, tickets, get them ASAP. The movie comes out on June 6th. Thanks again to Lionsgate.
They did a great job with Ballerina. For fans of the John Wick franchise, anyone who loves the films will enjoy this movie, I guarantee it. All right, next up, the James Bond clue we mentioned. Now, this is obviously not confirmation, but for the last year, Aaron Taylor Johnson, in rumors, in talks to be the next James Bond, and then Broccoli confirmed in her meeting with Amazon when they took over the Bond property, they discussed how they had met with Aaron Taylor Johnson significantly about playing the next James Bond character. There's a new confirmation, I think. Call me crazy, but listen to this. Aaron Taylor Johnson just signed. That's James he's climbing the balcony. Aaron Taylor Johnson just signed a brand ambassador deal with Omega Watches, and if you don't remember, Omega has been a sponsor in the James Bond franchise for over 30 years. James Bond, since the 90s, has been wearing Omega watches. This, I think, is a big, significant clue that they're getting everything ready for when they start doing the press, start doing the brand endorsements, start doing the marketing. This is a big step to the direction of Aaron Taylor Johnson being the next James Bond.
Do the Brits say Omega?
Yeah.
Because I always feel like we say Omega in America. It's kind of like how Cineworld, we would call it Cineworld, the movie theater, but they call it Cineworld out here. Yeah, so Omega watches, that's a pretty big deal. I think you're absolutely right. You're pretty sharp, kid. It's pretty sharp. Let's talk about Damien Chazelle and his next film.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our amazing friends at movieposters.com, the number one place to get your posters online today. So be sure to use our promo code Raiders10. That will always get you 10% off your order, as well as the affiliate link in the description of this episode and in our Instagram bio. That affiliate link gives us a little cut of the action. They have a gigantic selection of movie posters to choose from. Amazing prices, so use that coupon code, use that affiliate link, and always get your posters, the number one place, movieposters.com.
We know it's going to be a prison movie. We've reported on that. But speaking of James Bond, Daniel Craig and Cillian Murphy are in talks to star in this prison drama. DiCaprio was recently involved in talks, but he dropped out. Oh, no, sorry.
James skimmed it. James didn't read it this time. So remember, Chazelle was working on an Evel Knievel biopic with DiCaprio set to star. DiCaprio dropped out of that film to do Scorsese's next film, which they're making the mob film in Hawaii. And so Chazelle went back to his previous project, which was announced like a year ago. He was writing a prison film. So he went back to that because he probably couldn't get financing for Evel Knievel without Leo, because I'm sure it was a big-scale film. So he went back to his previous project, the prison film, and is casting that out now.
Yeah, I don't blame Leo because Marty probably only has a few more movies left, maybe. I mean, I'm sure I'd like to see him direct for another 20 years, but he's getting up there. So I think Leo's probably like, if I can make a couple more movies with Marty, I will. But, and I think Evel Knievel will be there when he's ready to do it. It would have been cool, but I like the idea of a prison movie with Chazelle. I like prison movies a lot. I feel like we haven't had a great one in a while. It's always been a good subgenre. Let's talk about Caught Stealing. I was so excited to finally see this trailer for Aronofsky's next film, starring Austin Butler, Matt Smith, Zoe Kravitz, and Bad Bunny. This hits theaters August 29th. The trailer looks awesome. It looks like one of those classic bonkers action movies from like the 80s and 90s we used to get with these really eccentric characters, and someone's caught up in the middle of this big scheme that they're not supposed to be involved in. And so Austin Butler has this crazy punk rock neighbor who he's babysitting his cat while he's away, but Austin Butler's character gets attacked by guys who are looking for the rocker, and he's involved in this big money scheme and a ton of, like, probably a robbery. I can't remember exactly all the details, but he's got a giant suitcase full of money. It's just great. And Zoe Kravitz plays a love interest and their relationship looks really, really hot and steamy. But this movie looks great, looks exciting, tons of cool action that Aronofsky I feel like hasn't done in a while, and the car stuff looks awesome. There's a bunch of car wrecks, and it looks really fun.
I think it was the best trailer of the week, and so energetic. It was like kind of like a blend of SLC Punk and Uncut Gems put together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Butler looks great. I can't wait to see this. He gets his ass beat over and over again, but in a funny way. It looks great. I think it has so much potential. Great cast and an amazing director. All right, next up, another really good trailer. I am surprised how good this movie looks. That's Jurassic World Rebirth. They just released a new full-length trailer, and Rebirth. We got some new looks at the new dinosaur hybrid, which, like the Rancor it was inspired by, can actually grab people with its giant claws. And it opens with the scientist trapped in the some kind of pod bay with it. And he's like, "Please don't leave me!" And then it grabs him. I like its arm reaching out. We got some more looks at some action sequences, and most notably the big one on the water with the boat, which looks fantastic, and absolutely a lot of calling cards to Jaws with that sequence. You can tell with the nose of the boat. I think it looks really good. Honestly, I think it looks great. Seems like a return to form for the franchise. We're going horror. We're going smaller in scale. It's not a global thing anymore. Getting away from cloned humans, and let's just get back to what works in the franchise.
Something else that I hope works is this Elden Ring live adaptation, which is a really beloved video game. A24 is moving forward officially with Alex Garland set to direct. So hopefully they knock that out of the park. And also we got a teaser for Wicked for Good, which comes out in 6 months.
Wow. Will this be A24's first big franchise?
Yeah,
outside of Maxine?
I think so.
Yeah, it's a big IP franchise.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be a franchise.
Well, I mean, Elden Ring's already a franchise is what I mean. So it's like its first like big IP thing that I can think of. I might be wrong.
Yes, because Blumhouse has all the horror IPs, right?
They snatched them all up. Let's talk about Hunger Games. They're doing a great job casting this film, and they're rolling out new announcements every couple of days. Kieran Culkin has been cast as Caesar Flickerman in Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, and Elle Fanning has been confirmed as Effie Trinket. I think these are two perfect castings, characters we've seen multiple times, and yeah, I think it's great. Great cast.
I saw this great tweet. Someone was like, I can't remember who it was. They're like talking about the Kieran Culkin getting cast, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Odds are ever in your favor. Fucking whatever. Who knows? I don't care. Whatever. Just keep going. Like, yeah. That's good. Let's talk about Breakthrough. Dwayne Johnson is going to star in an A24 film, new psychological thriller. This sounds really interesting. It follows a young man who comes under the influence of a motivational guru who uses morally questionable methods of manipulation. Clearly, Dwayne will play the guru, but that sounds really good. I like that. It's a cool pitch.
And Tom Cruise news, he and Alejandra Iñárritu have finished their film called, I can't remember what it's called. Something. Whatever it is. Apparently, it's a comedy. He described it as a wild comedy of catastrophic proportions. Again, this film follows the most powerful man in the world who tries to prove that he is humanity's savior before his own disaster destroys everything. I would love to see this kind of tone.
Yeah, Tom always has done comedy very well. I mean, he hasn't done it forever in a lot of his movies, and I feel like he hasn't done it in a while. But he has great line delivery for comedy, especially mostly in the Mission Impossible. But I mean, Tropic Thunder, he's one of the funniest characters ever seen in a movie. So I think Tom is hysterical. That sounds like a great tone. Street Fighter, the live adaptations, actually I believe going to start filming in the next month or two. Jason Momoa and Roman Reigns are in talks to star in the live action movie, but also Andrew Koji and Noah Centineo are officially in talks to star as Ryu and Ken in the live action Street Fighter movie. Noah, he was in the Black Adam movie. Yeah,
The Ruffalo lookalike.
Yeah, he looks like Mark Ruffalo, that guy. He's in a TV show too, a popular TV show. But that's cool. I mean, to see Ryu and Ken live action, that's gonna be like a childhood dream. So I'm so excited about that.
The Last of Us news. Apparently, they're going 4 seasons with this story. Catherine O'Hara confirmed that The Last of Us Season 3 will focus mainly on Abby's story. And Craig Mazin says The Last of Us will now need a 4th season to fully tell the story of the second game. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's an odd way to do it. The game itself does a lot of time jumping, and you do play as Ellie for about 10 to 12 hours, then you're Abby for like 10 hours, then you go back to Ellie, then you go back to Abby, then you go back to Ellie. So the nonlinear storytelling in the game, I think, works from a gameplay standpoint, but I think narratively for a show, I'm sure they'll still have sequences with Ellie and Dina and probably some more of the flashbacks with Ellie and Joel in seasons 3 and 4. I guess they're trying to match what the game does because there's a lot of Abby's story that has to get told. And obviously they're losing viewers. People are disliking the show. A lot of people are kind of tuning out right now. Season 3, that might have the same effect. Or maybe Season 3 will bring people back if they're focusing on Abby's storyline because it's a different tone, different aspect of what's going on. You get to see a different perspective of the destruction of Ellie and Dina and what they're leaving in their wake too. So I have no idea what it's going to be like or how people are going to perceive it. But who knows? I think Caitlin Dever is probably a great lead for Season 3, though.
And this confirms my speculation I've had since they first started releasing trailers for this season. There was no aquarium and no stadium in any of the content that we saw online. So I was always like, are they even going to show the aquarium in this season? Are we even going to get the stadium? So it seems as though they're going to wait until Season 3 to do all of those environments and those settings and doing this Abby-specific missions.
Yeah, a lot more WLF, Wolf. Let's talk about dangerous animals. There's a new exclusive poster for this serial killer movie starring Jai Courtney. This movie looks cool. It follows a woman trapped with a serial killer who feeds his victims to killer sharks in the middle of the ocean. This hits theaters June 6th, and I'm going to the premiere actually in a few days. I'm pretty excited about this film. It looks cool. It's a very unique take on a serial killer in a horror movie. I think it's an awesome idea. Hopefully it lives up to the hype. But I'm pretty excited about this film.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty interesting. It looks fun. Next up, we got an amazing trailer, finally, for It, Welcome to Derry. And we got one little shot of Pennywise in the background in the sewers. They are not giving it away. It is Bill Skarsgård returning to the role, but it looks like really in line with what the films were tonally and visually. It looks really good. It looks like one of HBO Max's best upcoming TV shows. And it looks as though they're not holding back on the horror and on the gore because it's. I don't think it's a red band trailer, but there was plenty of blood that we saw. So if you're going to do an It TV series, you got to make it grisly and gory for the fans. And I think that it has a lot of potential and it looks fantastic. It looks like they're doing a great job. I think that's because they have the same producers as the producers of the films.
And Andy Muschietti is directing episodes. He did the first 2 that I know of, and possibly more. So he's setting the tone for the show, which I think is a smart decision. There's also an awesome new poster for F1, and it's inspired by the iconic Akira poster, the overhead shot where it's the title, Akira, and then the motorbike above him. And so they did the same thing with Brad, where they have F1, Brad's in the middle, and the car above him. It looks really, really, really cool. You got to check it out. It's such a cool poster. Also got news of another new Jack O'Connor film. Guy is on fire.
The Rise of Josh O'Connor, not Jack O'Connor.
Sorry, the title of the movie threw me up. Josh O'Connor, called Jack of Spades. This will be Joel Coen's next film, filming this summer in Scotland. Joel hasn't made a movie since Tragedy of Macbeth, right?
Correct.
So I'm looking forward to this. Josh O'Connor is just on fire, working with Joel Coen. I think this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to hear more about it.
And they actually just released a clip of his upcoming film, The Mastermind, and it's him with his family, and he's an art thief, but he and his wife use like them as like a family as a way to not seem suspicious, and it's a nice little clip of Kelly Reichardt's upcoming film, and I love Josh, and Challengers blew him up in such a big way, and he's really going to take over Hollywood. He's got the talent, and he's got the star power, I think. So I can't wait to see all of his films coming out, and his new film with Paul Mescal just debuted at Cannes the other day. Next up, The Bear season 4 dropped. A trailer. It looks pretty good. It actually looks like a return to the smaller scale of the first season. I wasn't a huge fan of the last season, and it looks like it's going back to not being so big in its ideas and its scale, and just really being about these characters and keeping it close knit. And it looks like it gave me the same vibes as the first season. I don't know if you think that.
I agree, and I think Carmi, you gotta get back to focusing on Carmi. He's the best part of the show. Io Debris' character is great as well as the co-lead in a way, but I think Carmi's the key to the show working. Get back to focusing on him running the restaurants. I like some of the episodes. It's a good idea to like explore other characters in their worlds, but it tuned a lot of people out. It was a big change of tone from the other 2 seasons, and I thought season 2 was so electric and so fast-paced and so had such a great cliffhanger ending. But I'd like to see them go back to the way they were doing things in seasons 1 and 2. Excuse me. Fortune is a new movie that Alan Ritchson will star in, the Jack Reacher star. It's a new action-adventure film. It's described as Memento meets Raiders of the Lost Ark, so I'm guessing he can't remember a goddamn thing.
He's going to be forgetting some stuff. There's also an upcoming horror film starring Daphne Keane called Whistle. We got the first image of it. And this film follows a group of students who find an Aztec death whistle and discover that the sound it emits will summon their future deaths to hunt them down. So you blow in the little whistle, and there's a shot of Daphne Keane about to blow in the whistle, and it's like this old Aztec skull-shaped whistle. Sounds like pretty interesting.
I like it. I mean, I think Talk to Me made artifact horror movies really cool again. Not that they weren't, but they were kind of like less exciting. I know like the Ouija board movie wasn't that great, and there's a couple other ones that they're just like, oh, what's like the tarot cards? It's like, hey, what's a thing that people buy that's kind of spiritual? Let's make it into a horror movie. But I think Talk to Me did it right with like this new kind of idea, that hand artifact cursing people. This sounds like the same kind of thing. Finding an artifact, blowing into it as a whistle, and it just summons your demons to come kill you. That's really cool.
I can't whistle.
That's all I got. Toy Story 5 news. Conan O'Brien has been cast. His character is going to be called Smarty Pants. Sounds perfect for him. I'm sure he's going to be very hysterical and sarcastic. And then Jason Momoa. We got our first trailer for Chief of War, which is a new movie release. Oh, it's a series releasing on Apple TV Plus on August 1st. It will follow the Hawaiian unification, resilience, and adaptation in the face of colonization in the 18th century. I believe he's going to be based off a real-life king in Hawaii, I believe. I can't remember his name. And also staying on Apple TV Plus real quick, Fountain of Youth dropped on the 23rd. And guys, this movie is really fun. It's so good. It's like a classic action-adventure. Harkens back to Indiana Jones, The Mummy, Pirates of the Caribbean. It's not reinventing the wheel. It can be a little over-polished at times, but it's ridiculously fun. Krasinski is a great lead. Very suave, very fun, very charming. The action's fantastic. Guy Ritchie directs his butt off. I think his best car chase he's ever done in a movie. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to spend a couple hours for sure.
I really like Fountain of Youth. It's light and it's breezy, and it's really just a fun adventure film. Also, just incredible sets they built for that. They're really big sets in that film. There's a giant set piece in the middle of the ocean that they built, and it looks really fantastic. So definitely check it out if you have Apple TV. I think I've only seen a handful of Apple TV movies, but I think it's my favorite. I think I liked it. I liked it more than The Gorge. I really enjoyed it. All right, Skibidi Toilet news yet again.
Wait. What about Killers of the Flower Moon?
Killers of the Flower Moon is the best film Apple TV's made. Forgot about that one. All right, Killers of the Flower Moon 2, Skibidi Toilet. Production has begun on Michael Bay's adaptation of the very strange IP. Rob Legato will serve as visual effects supervisor, and Legato was the VFX supervisor for Avatar, Titanic, and the live-action Lion King remake, so he knows what he's doing. So I think Michael Bay hired probably the best guy in the business to do this.
I think that they clearly have a great idea. The Skibidi stuff, I know that the Skibidi Toilet, everyone keeps using the image of the head in the toilet as like, what is this? You know, you've seen that screenshot. But the world building of what Skibidi Toilet is, I think, you know, you take away that image and you see the world building of what that artist created. And it is odd, it is unorthodox, it is weird, but it's very creative. And I think they're going to be doing some really interesting stuff. And I think this movie is going to surprise people. Let the mayhem commence. Frankenstein news. Guillermo del Toro says, excuse me, a lot of talking this weekend. Losing my voice. Yeah. Guillermo del Toro says his Frankenstein movie is incredibly emotional. To quote him, it's as personal as anything. I'm asking a question about being a father, being a son. I'm not doing a horror movie, ever. I'm not trying to do that. So expect very intimate interpersonal relationships between Frankenstein, maybe the monsters he creates, and the rest of the cast around him.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is that he doesn't purposely make horror films. He works within the realm of horror to tell stories that are actually intimate and personal and human in the backdrop of horror, which makes a lot of sense if you look at a lot of his films. He's the fucking man. Who else is the man? Tom Cruise. In a recent interview, when asked when he'll retire, he goes, I'm not fucking leaving. Tom Cruise says that he wants to keep making movies until he's into his hundreds. He wants to keep doing stunts. He wants to keep doing action. He wants to do comedy, musicals, everything. He never wants to stop. Apparently, he's got even bigger things planned for the future. He and Ana de Armas have been training. She actually talked in an interview recently. She's been in London with him, training in his facility, preparing for their film that they're going to be shooting together. I believe the space film with Doug Liman. So I just can't wait to see what he has planned. He also said that he has an even more insane aerial stunt, topping what he just did in The Final Reckoning with the biplanes. That was fucking crazy when he's going 0G in between the wings and he's climbing all around it like it's a playground, and they're literally like feet from hitting rocks and cliff sides. It's unbelievable. If you haven't seen Final Reckoning, it's great. Check it out, guys. It was so much fun. But the more Tom Cruise, the better, man.
Yeah, the biplane stunt. I can't wait to talk about it more in depth. On Wednesday, we'll be doing our Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning episode, because I have to travel, so we don't really have time to film it, and we've just been so busy with the premiere here in London. So on Wednesday, our Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning episode will drop. But that biplane stunt was just one of the most jaw-dropping things I've ever seen. It was like the equivalent of the mountain jump with the dirt bike and the parachute from Dead Reckoning Part 1, but extended for 4 minutes. And it was just, I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was just probably the greatest stunt ever put on screen. It was just absurd. And it was also just so fun because he played around with the comedy of it, and it felt like he's like the modern-day Buster Keaton. And same thing with Jackie. They've always had great comedy in their stunt work. And even on a serious big moment, there's still some funny beats in that biplane stunt. And it was great. I loved it so much. The Backrooms. This is a new film that is going to be produced by A24. They're got a lot of stuff going into development right now. Chiwetel Ejiofor and Kristen Milotti are in talks to star in The Backroom. And Kane Parsons will direct a film based on his own YouTube horror short film, which I remember seeing a while ago. It was like this creepy, dark being is stalking someone in these eerie hallways. It's something I watched a few years ago. I remember seeing. So, remember that? Yeah. So that should be cool. And that's our last bit of news, because Devil Wears Prada is next.
And it's a found footage short, so maybe they'll keep it found footage. Who knows? But this was made 2019. And the concept originated on 4chan. All right. Interesting stuff. But yeah, that's it for movie news, a short one today. There actually wasn't too much news this week, but we're enjoying our time in London. I'll be in London for another few weeks, and then I'm going to Europe, traveling Austria and Italy.
Already in Europe.
I'm in Europe, but I'm leaving the UK. And then James is meeting me and a bunch of the boys in Greece in June. So we got a busy month ahead.
Yeah, that Raiders Trova trip is happening. It's so soon. I can't wait. It's gonna be a blast. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of good movies to talk about. Mission Impossible. We're doing a movie chat tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Mission Impossible on Wednesday, and then we'll be doing Ballerina very soon. Again, check that movie out. Get your tickets. It's such a blast. The action is incredible. The flamethrower sequence is one of the most insane things I've ever seen in a movie. It was such a blast. I loved being back in the world of John Wick, and Ana de Armas is, I think, just the next great action star, and I think she's going to be the next Tom Cruise, clearly. All right, take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
See you next time.